guys, to a super Wednesday edition of the Dane and Josh show. First and foremost, Dane sends his love. He's covering an event. It's okay. Gives me more time to do I do best. You know, I love music and sports both, but music is like 1A and sports is 1B. So today is a real treat. I'm so excited to share this upcoming guest with all of you guys. I've been listening to this band from day one. This guitarist that we're bringing on, piano player, drummer, virtuoso, Jerome Fontamillas, obviously known for his work with Switchfoot, from The Beautiful Letdown and beyond, and then of course Morzan. Y'all gotta check out Morzan. This side project he's doing, I wish I could like quantify how great this body of work is. It's like Killers, MGMT, modern day worship, feel good music, all this stuff just combined together. This guy really does know everything about music. So it's the fanboy moment for me. And before I kind of geek out, I got to get down to it and bring on my mentor, Jerome. Jerome, how you doing, my friend?
Hey man, I'm doing good. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah, man, it's an honor. Like I said, guitar virtuoso, great piano player. There's nothing you can't do, so it's a true honor to get to bring you on, man. Thanks for your time. Okay,
Appreciate it. Thank you.
so over the years of doing this, we've kind of cultivated some question sets, kind of like to pick your brain about. So I'm going to jump into it. The first question, when you think about obviously your work with Switchfoot, Morzan, which I love. By the way, I absolutely love the end. I love that track. I'm jamming it. I love the
Oh
live
yeah.
version. It's crushing it. When you think about your
That's
body of
awesome.
work, there's got to be this like back in the day thing, like maybe some garage band demos or things like that. Before Switchfoot, Warzone, when did you get the itch to maybe start playing guitar or piano? When did it all begin for you, you know?
Well, started when I was 5 or 6 years old. My parents forced me to play the piano.
Okay.
They put me in piano lessons, and I had this teacher that was horrible. She had a ruler right by my hand, and when I would do my scales, and if I did it wrong, she would like smack my hand, and like I'd be like, oh. So I hated piano for a long, like 2 years. I just all I did was scales,
Okay.
and then I literally just quit, and I told my parents. I said, hey, I can't do this anymore. I just don't like it, you know. But then when I went to junior high, seventh, eighth grade, I started listening to like the radio and started listening to like started buying like you know vinyl and stuff, and um, I started listening to like the Beatles,
Yeah.
and
Classics.
I I fell in love with music, and I wanted to like emulate the
Yeah.
music that they were getting, and that's how I literally, because I learned piano in such a young age, I was literally able to like assimilate and like learn how to play, all those rock songs back in the day, Led
The good stuff,
Zeppelin,
man. Yeah. I got
yeah,
you.
the Beatles, Queen. I mean, it was like that. Those were like the days where I was like, wow, music. It was a big horizon, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow, there's so much to learn.
Okay. Isn't it cool,
Yeah.
by the way? Just side note, vinyl's coming back. I'm so grateful. Thank you, vinyl, for coming back. You knew it
I
would,
know.
right? So,
It has to. It has to. I was, in fact, this morning, I was just setting up my vinyl,
yeah.
all my vinyl records. I was like, wow, there's a lot of great stuff.
It's coming back, man. So you obviously story musician, right? And it kudos, and it's neat to see now, like going to 2024 and the body of work. You have a body of work, obviously with Switchfoot, Morzan, some of the side projects, studio musicianship. You've done a lot. Your pedigree is huge, man. And
I
there's
appreciate
this,
it. Yeah.
yeah, man. So you think about shows, right? There's like every
Yeah.
artist I've talked to has a different like signature show for them. Some people say it's the local hometown, some like tiny clubs, some say the Ryman, the Bluebird, some say venues. You've got this body of work that you've done. Is there maybe one show or maybe two that's like these are my not that they're all good, but maybe one or two that stand out to you being like your favorite gigs you played so far, regardless of the band. Maybe what's a couple of your favorite shows, you know?
Well, it all goes back to when we started touring as Mortal,
Yeah.
and we played a small club in L.A., Los Angeles, in Hollywood, and there was there was only two people there in the
Okay.
audience. One was my manager, and so at the time, and literally, it was a turning point because I'm like, what am I doing this for? I'm just out there to play the music that I love to play, and so I played my heart out, and in front of two people,
Yeah.
and that was one of my most memorable, one of my most memorable shows. That I don't know if you call it a show. It could, I
Yeah.
mean,
It was.
a
Yeah. You're
private
playing.
show,
Yeah.
but I take that, and then a couple of years ago, a few years ago, we were in Europe playing and opening up for Bon Jovi, playing in front of 60,000 people,
Wow.
and that I resonate for both of them because I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, I played in front of two people and I enjoyed it, and I took that and I'm playing in front of 60,000 people and like just taking it all
Same love.
in,
Same love. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you're like, wow, this is, and I'm doing the same thing that I did when in front of two people. I'm doing the same thing I'm doing in front of 60,000 people. So
That's
um,
awesome.
one of my favorite venues would probably be like Red Rocks,
Okay.
in Colorado, one of the greatest amphitheaters to ever play in. If you ever get a chance,
Oh yeah. I've
it's
been there.
one of
Yeah.
the best places to play.
It's
And so,
surreal. It's like God dropped it on the earth and said, here you go, musicians.
oh
Here's a great place for you to play, right? I love it.
yeah, yeah, that's one of my favorite places to play.
So it's like it's neat. I had a few buddies, like my buddy Mikey from Islander, talks about like a show of like 10 or 20 people. And I love that you
Yeah,
said that you're given the same amount of energy for two as you are 60,000 because you love the music. You love what you're doing, right? That's cool, man.
exactly. Yeah,
Wow.
that's the bottom line. Is like, man, this is the music I believe in. This music I love. I don't care if I play in front of two people or
Yeah.
60,000. You know?
That's cool. What a cool dichotomy from the early days of Mortal, which I knew that about you, and then now with Switchfoot or the other bands, like one extreme to the other, still loving the music. That's really cool. Speaking of
Yeah.
influence, whether you like it or not, you've left a huge net on the music world. It's like with great power, as Spider-Man says, you've got this great responsibility, right? You've left this
Oh
net of
yeah.
like from the letdown days to Vice Versa's Hurricane, obviously again your side stuff. Now people
Yeah.
see you as like I'm not just pandering when I say this. Like you think about Edge. Jerome, same sentence, the style,
Wow.
the mark, but it's true. So when you think about the
Wow.
influences you've left on society, on the music world, the upcoming, the need to breathe, right? Some of the MGMTs I talked about, you left a
Oh
mark
yeah.
on music. There's got to be a couple people that have left a mark on you, guitar wise or piano player, musician wise. Who's a couple of your muses or influences on you?
Oh man. I mean, like, yeah, like going back, you know, uh, John Lennon, Paul McCartney. Um, I I look back at like Johnny Greenwood from
Yeah,
Radiohead,
yeah,
um, Kurt Cobain of Nirvana. Like these are um, these. You listen to so much music, and
yeah,
you get a. I mean, there's so much influence in music in general. That it's hard to like pinpoint. But you could, like my journey, like listening to Queen or like even like U2 or The Cure, or that they have heavily shaped
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
the things that comes out of me, like
Yeah, it's a vast range, right? Like you said, look,
oh
Cure,
oh
Queen, some of the Need to Breathe stuff. There's this influence that you've left, and I think what you guys have done, and I've heard John have this interview 100 times talking about his first show. He snuck in, saw Bono, right? Some of those days,
oh
right?
yeah
You
yeah
you 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 think about what makes me so proud of the way you have left this thumbprint on music. You're leaving a mark of like, this is me. I'm genuine. This is what I feel, what I believe, but you're also willing to learn. I think about even the newest album you guys did, where you're bringing on all these cameos, right? You're doing
oh my
um,
gosh, yeah
your body of work. You're not afraid to bring people in, like, hey, let's try something new. You're constantly evolving and just changing at the same time, right? It's cool. So here's your stamp. Here's what I'm known for. Here's my signature
yeah
sound. Let's bring people in. That's just I'm fanboying out. So
well, it's
and
like I think people can has something to bring to you.
yeah,
You're always there to learn. You're not, I mean, you could only do so much, and I think the people that you surround yourself with, that that brings in music for you, can learn a lot you
yeah.
know
Absolutely, man. Yeah. And I can see that the student in music that you are, you're constantly learning and bringing people around. And no wonder people
right.
just love you. Anybody's ever mentioned your name is like, yeah, Jerome, professional, loving guy, great. Just you're known more as like your compassion and then of course the skill set, right? So
I
let me
appreciate it. Wow.
let me not fanboy out. Let me keep on track. there's obviously like you got several side projects, right? I know you're obviously
Yeah.
constantly working, constantly moving in the direction, new music. You guys just dropped your 20-year. Congratulations.
Yes, man. Can you
Yeah,
believe
crazy, right?
it?
I remember where I was when I first heard what my favorite song that you did. I'm still a big fan of 24. 24 is my favorite.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Vice Versa is my favorite album you did. Your guitar work on that,
Oof,
it was so like indie rock. I love it. You know what I mean? You're in this different headspace. So it was a bonus
yeah.
question I had to ask you. Vice Versa
Sure.
specifically, all the work that you've done. Of course, you've got like Native Tongue. Go back to the early days before you joined of like New Way to Be Human, Beautiful Let Down, obviously
Yeah.
Hurricane. When you guys are writing Vice Verses, I'm curious, man. Like this, the presence of like writing that, was that all at once? Because that's my favorite album you did. Was that all at one time, or was
Uh,
it spread out? Walk me through Vice Verses. That's
no.
you know,
Um, that one actually was it was right after the Hella Hurricane
yeah,
era, and we're just coming back from wow, this this big resurgence,
yeah,
if you want to say, like, as a band. And then um, we wanted to we this one we were really focused. We really wanted to make a very kind of more of a rock kind of
yeah,
album, like kind of like a little more guitars, a little more just edge,
yeah.
you
I
know.
see it. Yeah,
And but there are a lot of songs there that there was a little more heartbreak, a little more like darkness, you
yeah.
know. And I think that adds a lot of um, spice to, like, the depth of the song is, the stuff that you're going through. And
Yeah.
especially I look back at one of the songs, Vice Versus itself was such a powerful song,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot to it, but I think it's one of those things where you're like, that is heavy and dark, but yet there's not a lot
Positive.
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So I
straightforward.
mean,
Yeah. Relatable.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, one of my favorite albums. You
Yeah, man.
you
And
hit it.
again, everything you've touched, like I said, it turns to gold. That's just of the body of work that you've done with that band, right? Obviously, again, spoke
Yeah.
a little bit about Morzan. I just I always like to kind of pick maybe the brain, the headspace. Like I remember I was watching an interview one time with Chester of Linkin Park. He talked about when they wrote Minutes to Midnight, they were in this room full of balloons and just kind of atmospherically talking, right? So I like to pick people's brains on their headspace, right? So
Sure.
yeah, so when you're looking at upcoming, right? Obviously, a studio musician like yourself, skilled musician, constantly touring, constantly working. Are there maybe some, if you can share it, maybe some new stuff coming up? What's this year look like for you as a musician? You know?
Well, we are just coming back from last year. Um, we we did this whole 20-year reunion, kind of like remembrance of the Beautiful Letdown. We even had, like, we took this album and we had like different artists come in
Yeah, yeah.
and uh, and put their take on it, and we kind of feel like it never felt like it ended, and we kind of feel like it should go on just a little bit more. So I
Okay,
feel like this year we may like extend this reunion, this
love it.
celebration,
I'm all
um,
about it.
but it's still shaping up. We're talking about what we want to do this year, and that's a big part of it. We're obviously going to be playing, with other bands
Yep.
in the future, like kind of partnering with other bands. And I think we have a few shows with a band called Creed
Yeah.
coming up, and other, it's still formulating, but I feel like
Pipeline.
we need to keep the celebration going,
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
like.
What you as a guitarist, like I said, I really honed in on how great of a musician you are, and we talked about this off the air, being musician to musician, not in your league, but trying. Side stuff, Warzand, other projects. You got some studio stuff coming up, or side projects that you're working on, or
We just released the first. I mean, we did that live show with
yep,
Morzan on November 18, and we released like 4 songs live.
good
But there's
stuff.
still a lot. I mean, we played like 18 songs, and so I want to release some more of those live things that we did,
Okay,
and so I think we're going to try and see if we could release some more of that magical night that we played,
It was good, man. I hope you do because it's magical. Like there's such a blend. Your style, like there's like 16 different styles of music you bring together. I get a
Oh
touch of
yeah.
worship, a touch of almost Springsteen, a touch of MGMT, a touch of the Killers, and it's all
Oh
like,
my
and then you're
God.
spinning, it's all together, and then it's you guys, you know. So I hope you
Yeah,
do.
and it was like, I didn't really pick up the bass for like 20 years, and so like it was fun because as Mortal, when I was playing Mortal, I played the bass, and
Yeah,
Full Zen it was more bass, and I mean it was so fun.
good. We'll
You
hope to
know,
see some of that. Maybe it's the special edition vinyls or something. Let's make it happen,
I
right?
will. Oh yes, let's do it. Yeah,
I love it.
I'll look into that.
Good, man. Well, not that I'm plugging or hoping, but if
No,
that happens,
I'm with you.
I'll be in
I'm
line.
with you on
Love it.
that.
Yeah, man. So hopefully we'll see that. So there's a transition. Every episode you're gonna crack up drum. There's this thing we do. Our fans are amazing from like Finland to Fiji, worldwide, 27 countries. We do this
Wow,
segment
that's
that
awesome.
it's cool. So we do this segment that's called Rapid Fire. Now you're gonna laugh a lot. This segment, what Dane and I usually do, even though he's not here, I sent him the question set that the
Yeah.
audience gave us, and we're betting on you. There's no wrong answer. So this is kind of
Oh,
like
okay.
it's like a Rorschach test. So imagine reality like stops existing, time, you can time travel, there's nothing off the table. Okay,
Oh,
now
great. I love it.
these questions are PG, but they're weird. We're gonna have some fun. So
Yeah.
what it's about is kind of a personality test. So no wrong answer, you go with what you feel like the right answer is. We love all these subjects that we use, but we want to pick your brain. Okay.
All right, I'm in.
Okay,
I'm
so
in.
we'll go back a little bit, kind of like the post 2000 skateboarding kind of grunge post phase. Skateboarding's
Yeah.
making a comeback, so they're asking you to follow along and kind of have a skateboarding competition with a celebrity for the day. Whether you do it or not, you have to skateboard for the day, and your choices you're doing like a kind of like a trial, like time trial thing, and you get to choose your opponent. You can pick your opponent.
Okay.
Love both of these guys, but you can choose to skateboard time trials against Brad Pitt or Johnny Depp. Who's going to be your opponent for the day?
Oh, definitely Johnny then.
Let's go. I had
Definitely.
you. Let's go. Dane had Pitt, so I'm one up. I love it. So I love it. Love it. Love it. So we all know, everyone knows your guitar skill. Great guitar hero. I don't throw that lightly. So one day you're on tour, kind of doing your thing. We're going back to the 80s, and somehow Guitar Hero is around in the 80s. I don't know how, but it's back. So you're doing a tour, you guys are touring with, maybe we'll say Bon Jovi, and these two guys approach you and say, Jerome, I want to play you in Guitar Hero. You can pick your opponent. Okay.
Oh man.
So the two choices that you have is either Randy Rose, rest in peace, or you can choose Joe Satriani as your Guitar Hero opponent. Who do you want to go against?
Man. Tough one. I
No
would
wrong
have to
answer.
I have to go for Satriani.
Let's go. 2 for 2. I had you, bro. I had you.
I think he's
I hear it in your style.
I hear it.
Yeah, let's go. 2 for 2, man. Dane is striking out. He's 0 for 2. Love it.
Dane,
so,
come on, Dane.
Sorry, Dane, you're out of luck, man. So check this out. Next question. Obviously, we love John's voice is unmistakable signature. We know that. We love you, John. But the two of these guys say, hey, I want to write a record with you, just you, Jerome. Two of these singers. Okay.
Oh,
just you and
love
him.
this one.
Okay. The very different styles, but also rocker. You can spend a day writing an album with either A, Steven Tyler, or B,
Ooh.
James Hetfield. Love them both. Who you going with?
Oh man.
Okay.
Oh. Well, it depends on like what music I want to
Right.
put out, but dude, I'll hit the Steven Tyler.
Let's go. I had you. 3 for 3. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
I love it.
Yeah. I just think from like the way you're like your sevens and the way the style of play that you do, I think it would fit to Steven.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I mean,
I got you.
Jay Hatfield is he's good too though.
They're both great. Love them both. And again, no wrong answer.
Yeah.
We love them both. Just personality question, right? Disclaimer, James, if you're listening, we love you. Next question. So 2024 is the year of movie reboot franchises, okay? Check this out. And they're redoing both of these classic, iconic 80s movies. And they want you to write the soundtrack for the upcoming
Ooh, I love that.
Here we go. So your choices, check this out. You can be the main honcho for the soundtrack reboot of Days of Thunder. Love it.
Oh, I remember Days of Thunder. Yes.
Or B, you can rewrite the soundtrack for Roadhouse. Days of Thunder, Roadhouse. Which one are you going with?
Oh, is Roadhouse the one with Patrick Swayze?
Yeah, yeah.
That,
Hey.
oh, that's right. Um, no, Tom Cruise, man. I might have to go for Days of Thunder. You're
I had you,
right.
man. I really did. I am 4 for 4. I feel like I'm locked in on you, man. So Dane is
Oh,
0 for
Dane,
4. I
sorry,
got you.
man.
Sorry, Dane. So check this out. So last one, man. Just kind of having some
All
fun
right.
with the concept stuff. So it's a common thing for now that vinyl's coming back and full length albums. Thankfully, the music gods have shined on us, and concept albums and full length albums are becoming a thing. So you're called up. Your producer said, "Hey, Jerome, we want you to write a concept album. The entire album has to be about one of these two topics." It's gonna get
Okay.
weird. So the whole album has to be about baked potatoes or different types of candy, and you got to make it cool. Like you got to feel it. Baked potatoes or different types of candy. Which one you go?
Well, so both of them, you could take music two different ways. Candy is very light and fluffy.
Yeah,
Baked potato is like heavy and
yeah,
meaty. You know, man, I mean, I'd like to do both, but so I can only choose one, huh?
yeah.
I'm not a. I I always go back to the heavy and meaty. I'd go for baked potatoes.
Okay, I got one wrong. I had you for candy. I really did. It's okay.
Oh
It's
well,
okay.
that one. I mean, that's good too.
It's
But
all good,
you
man.
know, I'm
But
into the heavy meaty.
can you imagine like the song titles of like potato stuff? Like I'm burnt around the edges. I'm burnt on the
Yes.
inside. Like my core is burnt. Like we could go all crazy with this. Love it, man.
That is
Good.
awesome.
Yeah, man. So just hopefully interviews. I know you've done a million interviews, but hopefully in segments like that, that's a little something different. That
I
appreciates you being
love
here
it.
for. Love it.
This is
Awesome, man. So,
great.
so in respect for your time, the final segment, Jerome, we do something that's called open mic. So the reason
All
Dane
right.
and I started this show, our main premise is this. We want to, whether it's a musician, an athlete, which we do, maybe a different field of work, we want to shed that light on those people like yourself that role models that have chased their dreams and have the guts to do it. If you're maybe going back to tell your younger self or beginning self, if you will, maybe some words of wisdom about chasing your dreams, what's a piece of advice you give to those listening?
Man, that's I mean, as a 20 years or 30 years doing music, I always look back at like, wow, this, the journey that I've been on and the things that I did wrong or did right, you know. I would tell my younger self, to enjoy even the bad moments, enjoy you know, at the when I told you about, playing in front of two people at a club, I was it was one of those things, eye opening for me. Like, wow, I don't know if I could keep doing music if only two people come out to a show. But I would tell my old self to say, hey, you know what? You're playing music. You're playing music that you love. Enjoy it. Take it. And I don't. I would tell. I would tell people. Like a lot of people have come up to me and said, hey, what what kind of advice for an upcoming musician? What do you have advice for? And I just say, you know what? Take each moment that you have as if it was your last,
Mm,
and and put everything that you have in it and enjoy it. I
mm.
I didn't I didn't think I would be doing this 30 years down the line. Back then I'd be like, okay, I'm just gonna play. I People may like the music, people may hate the music, and I may not be doing this tomorrow, but what? Just take it in, enjoy that moment, and be grateful for that moment,
Mm.
and maybe you'll have another chance down the line. I'm really grateful that I had a lot of those chances down the line.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people that never get to that point,
yeah, yeah.
but I still admire them if they are able to, in take what they have and just and put it in their heart, like be grateful for what they had.
I love it.
I
Yeah.
admire those people that are saying, hey, I may not have all those doors that have opened, but the doors that have opened for me, I took it in, and I I lived it,
Yeah. Take your shot. I love it, man. Yeah, you're
and
spot on,
so
man. Yeah. And you think about like you've been, man. I'm just, I'm I admire that because you successfully for 30 years, right? Still a young guy, let's be clear, doing this for a
Yeah.
long time, right? And you think about taking it day by day, it actually makes it a little bit less stressful. Hey, let's not talk about tomorrow, whether it's music,
No,
whether it's sports, whether it's whatever your field of work is, let's just focus on right now. And you've done that for 30 years and killing it, man, like
it
at the top of your game,
it,
So
what's crazy is in Switchfoot, before each album that we do, we literally break up the band and say, hey, you know what? Let's break up the band, come back, and let's do an album that may be our last. And so we always have that focal point, like this could be our last album that
wow,
we're gonna make.
wow.
And it kind of you kind of like really like take things in, like wow, this I want to take all of this in. I want to take all this recording that we're doing, in my heart, take it in and just live the moment.
Live
And
it. Yep.
so
Live it. And
and
there's no question why you're still so successful because people love genuine. What you're talking about is you cherish the moment, you respect it, you love what you do. And our buddy Chris from Jonathan Davis's camp said, if you love what you
yeah,
do, someone's going to listen, right? So what you're doing is, thankfully,
yeah.
a lot of people relate to you because you're so genuine and you know what you're all about, and people flock to that, man. So
I
um,
appreciate that.
it's the time frame that we're in. So you think about 90s to now, that 30-year time frame of music. Now
Yeah,
I feel and I stand behind this. I'm now my kids are teenagers. I say back in my day, any good musicians,
yeah,
in my opinion, I love new music, don't get me wrong, but the
yeah.
the the focal points, the cornerstones, the foundations of music are people that began 90s to 2000s. And that's where music is now
Yes.
shaped. And that's what you are. So yeah,
Oh man, thank you, man.
yeah.
It's
But
it's really it's really awesome to hear, like, the things that happened back then,
yeah,
that shaped you and to where you are now. And yeah, 90s and early 2000s music, it was a different time of musicians because they didn't have, music that's accessible to them. So they have to go out and really push forward, like, hey, this is the music I want to create with what I have.
yeah,
Nowadays, everyone, it's easy to come and put music together.
you're
But
right.
back then, you're more inclined, you're more, I don't know how to say it, but you're more
More
inclined to
skilled.
push.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
push to get your music out there a
You
lot
think
more.
about, yeah, think about like the insurgence of like YouTube, which I love it. I'm grateful that I could go and learn a guitar solo by watching YouTube. But you guys
Yeah,
who are now, it's no question that the people that are at the top of their game, people that we look to for like musical advice are people that know how to do it without digital. You could play,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like it's no question that there's that parallel of like the people that have foreshadowed great music. And I'm not saying
Hmm.
new musicians, don't get me wrong. I love new music. I'm always searching,
Oh yeah,
but the foundation, the cornerstone of where we are right now in the music world comes from people like you guys just doing it at the top of your level, man. So thank you for
thank
being
you.
never giving up, man. Living in the moment. So
Thank
love
you,
it.
Josh. Thank you,
Yeah,
man.
so Jerome, on behalf of the show here, man, we know your time is always precious. On the musicianship side of what you do for those listening, and just the positive vibe that you spread. Thank you for coming on the show. We always say, hey, if you'd like to do it again in the future, never hesitate. Recurring thing. We love you. We'd love to make it happen
Yes,
again. Okay,
let's
so.
do it. Let's do it.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate your time. Obviously, we'll get this out to the world as soon as we can. Don't forget that
Awesome.
we're inspired by it, and I hope you have a great, happy 2024, and we can't wait to see some more tours in the future, okay? So,
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
of course, man, you take care, brother. You're welcome to drop off. So, guys, that's
All right.
Jerome. I'm telling you, man, I love this guy. His guitar style, musicianship, the way he plays, the way he carries himself, the way he lives his life, the way he respects the fans, the way he goes after just living in the moment. You can't say enough about that. This guy is the real deal. I love Jerome. I think he's just A1 musician, piano player, guitar player, drummer extraordinaire, bass player, does it all. There's nothing that he can't do, but he does it with a sense of passion and love for the craft. So real hardworking, just Blue collar musician. Love this guy. So Jerome, we appreciate you, man. We can't say enough. So that's Jerome Fontamillas from Switchfoot, of course, Immortal and Morzan, and many other projects that we can't even get the time to go into. So I'm so grateful that we got the chance to work with him. You guys, that's a bucket list for me. You know how much I love interviewing musicians that have touched my heart. So I'm glad we got that privilege to do that. So I got a good week coming up. Got our buddy Joseph stopping by from Seventh Day Slumber tomorrow, and then we'll end Sunday's recap with Iron Will, ultra marathoner. So I'm so grateful that I got the chance to touch base with Jerome. It was an exciting time. So as always, on behalf of the Dane and Josh show, don't forget that we love you, and as Dane would say, thank you for listening.